If everybody does finish out quickly, which is totally possible, we might start up on the second half of 12-4 tomorrow, because I know that there's going to be how many of you guys are going on Friday? Yeah, there's a lot of you going on Friday, so it's going to be kind of silly. That's why I'm saving just this little bit on Friday of leftover this 12-4 from today. That's why I want to do the quiz tomorrow. The first part of this stuff today is ridiculously simple. Okay? Would be nice, because then tomorrow would be almost Friday. When we're talking about compound events, we're talking about, we kind of briefly did this a little yesterday, is when you're looking at more than one thing happening in a row. Okay? You have stuff that, if we look at just our deck of cards analogies again, if I'm looking at a standard deck of cards, how many are there? 52. If I'm looking, give me a quarter, would you?
I got it.
I don't have what it is.
That hurt.
6 hour turned into a penny shooting war. I think it lasted about 6-7 minutes, and everybody just kept flinging pennies at each other. It got kind of violent. For my mental note, don't make Hannah mad. You're okay. I think you're a softie at heart.
Yeah, no,
but Hannah is just vicious.
She's a vicious human being.
She is. I need to delete the recording so she doesn't hear that come after me.
Hannah, you're vicious.
Because I'm sure she's going to go home.
Yes, I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
So, real quick, what's the probability I'm going to flip a card over, it's going to be red?
Yeah.
Oh!
Let's go. Just like flipping a coin, though.
Exactly. Now, if I take that card and I put it back in, what's the probability I'm going to flip a card out and it's red?
No, it's not one now.
Now, what
I thought you
happens?
took out one card, right?
He put it back in.
I put it back.
in. Oh.
Because that's called, when you do that, it's called with replace. You ever heard that term, with replacement?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the goat.
Yeah, a goat.
You know, like with the 3 doors and the 6.
Are you talking about the bridge?
No, but like there's like 3 different doors and then there's a show on TV.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that one. There's probably the bridge.
I don't know, but there's 3 doors and then there's a goat.
Oh yes, I know you're talking about. There's a word problem. You have to bring it. You have a boat. You go across. You have a goat, a head of lettuce, and
I don't know,
One of
Samantha.
them's a lady.
a bunny. You can't leave the bunny with the lettuce. And you can't leave the goat with the bunny.
Oh, and you have to like take it back.
And you gotta take it back and forth. Then you sit there and like, why do you have a goat?
Why don't you? What is this on?
It's something along those lines. So what we're looking at here.
Predator
And
and something else.
This is another idea of something that you guys understand without really knowing what's going on. If I want to take, Venn diagram stuff, don't write it out, 'cause it's kind of a pain. If I want to look at the idea with a deck of cards, if I'm able to get the probability of a red, I'm going to use R for red, or a 7. What's the probability when you take a standard deck of cards? These are all, this is just one draw.
Oh, is this what you were talking about the other day? Like,
Yeah. So we know that how many cards in the deck of cards are red? 26 out of how many?
52.
There's 26 out of 52. And how many of them are red?
2.
I'm sorry, 7. There's a total of 4 of them, but then you guys are already getting it. How many of those 4 are red? So you had to back out 2. So what we're looking at here is these compounding probabilities. Sometimes you have that overlap, like you do in a Venn diagram, where you have to back something out. So the probability here of this happening would be what, 28 over 52?
Yeah.
Simplify the fraction, you get what?
713.
21.
713.
20. Oh,
So 7, I have a 7 out of 13. It's almost a 50% chance. Yes, sir.
Why did you subtract the 2 again?
How many cards are 7s?
4.
How many of those 4 are red?
Oh, so they're like when you
Double counting. Yeah, I'm double counting. So I have a 7 out of 13 chance, really, of being right.
You're wrong.
Oh. You were the.
it's an ace though.
You got
No.
No.
So
You're gonna get it.
Third time's a charm.
No.
Third time.
No.
Yeah.
Ace of cards.
You got
Hold it, it's red.
Should have told him it wasn't.
It was hard though.
Oh.
Okay, that's the idea here. Now, the other part of this could be if there was where was it? What if I wanted to do the probability of a 6 or an ace?
Isn't there
8 out of
So that's-
52, so
yeah.
440, no, 2 13s?
Right. Is there an overlap here?
No.
No.
No. So it's just a matter of looking at the idea, do you have overlap, do you not have overlap? And I don't want to go into too much of the more complex than just the standard deck of cards. I'm hoping that you guys understand the deck of cards by now.
I don't know.
it? 75% of the time.
I'm sorry, Izzy, what's that? What is the answer? All right, Izzy, how many 6s are in a deck of cards? 4 of them. Out of how many? How many aces are there? Out of?
Wait, so the only time it would overlap would be if it was like same suit or same color?
Yeah. And it's just that idea there. Now, notice I'm adding these things because I'm looking at more events to happen within the same time, as opposed to I want to pick pizza crust, topping, and choices. It's a little different. Yes, ma'am.
On the quiz, does it matter if you put fraction, decimals, percentages?
I would prefer fractions or decimals. Percents just, there's really no reason to do percents. It's just that. I mean, I'm not going to yell at you either way, but I'll probably just say fractions or hundredths. Michael?
So there's no overlap, is that the same thing as saying 6 and?
Yes. It's really all it is. 6 and an ace, 6 or an ace. It's just a matter of looking at what they're asking me. Okay. It's just working through it. So let's look at these. Card is randomly selected from a deck of 52. What's the probability it's an ace or face card? Ace or face card. Now remember, what are we calling face cards?
Jacks.
Jacks, kings, and queens, and the reason those were face cards because
Faces on 'em.
they have faces. Not the faces, which was Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart, and Ronnie Wood. Yeah, nobody knows who any of those guys are. Thank you. Just stay with me, you'll be okay. What's that? Did I tell you guys who's got honors pre-calculus? Yeah, Denny's got honors. Denny will have honors. She's awesome.
I've heard that.
She's really good. The regular, there's what, 3 sections of regular
How many sections?
Fontana of honors. There's 2 honors, 3 regular. Fontana has 2 of the regular, and I have 1. So
Why don't you close that?
Have you, when's the last time you got 3
no, I haven't taken pre-calc since I was your age.
So I hope I get you next to 3 books together.
What's the difference between pre-calc and
I did get a pre-calc, so I have 1 section. What's that? Could be 3 years. So what happens here is we have the probability. You want an ace or the face. Ace or face. Ah. Who is face?
Eight.
Who's face?
Who's face?
Come on. Face? Who's face?
Can we make like a king card with my face on it?
No.
No.
Do you guys know B.A. Baracus?
No.
Mr. T? You ever hear a TV show called The A-Team?
Yeah.
There's a movie.
They made a movie out of it, and it wasn't that great. But the original TV show had B.A. Baracus, that was Mr. T, the colonel, I forgot his name, but Face was the guy's name. He was the guy that was always acting like somebody else. And then you had the weird guy that didn't like to fly. Anyway, so probably, how many aces do you have?
4.
4.
4 out of 52. How many face cards?
12.
And then just keeps it finite. So like,
413.
Hold one.
now, when you're looking at this, this is the kind of idea when you start breaking down counting cards. This is what people do in their heads. As you start the idea of what they did was it Evanston or Northwestern? What was the movie 21 was based out of Northwestern? I think when they played blackjack.
I don't know.
What happens is, in a blackjack deal, they have what's called a chute. You ever seen one of those? A chute holds X amount of decks of cards. Let's just say there's 5 decks for all intents and purposes, okay? If there are 5 decks of cards, how many total cards is that?
It's 2 times 5.
Which is? Let's make it 10, make it even easier.
2, 6, 5.
So let's say there's 520 cards in there, okay?
Usually it's like only 3 there.
Yeah,
I
the
have no
250.
idea.
5.
Well, if it was
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
and
it's much tinier.
158,
Yeah.
6.
So what they're doing is they're looking at what cards are out, trying to keep track of the cards in their mind, and realizing that, okay, there hasn't been a 7 coming up in a while, and they're calculating the probabilities that that's going to happen. Those probabilities are ever changing. So you're doing your best to try to keep track of 500 different values, as well as what's been out, what hasn't been out, excuse me, to better yourself out. I'm sure it does. Okay.
Guys,
Wait, how do people
Now,
keep watching that thing?
What happens a lot of times when